Yo guys, I have a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new episode of Schooled for Game Show where I take the battle classes from Skylanders Imaginators and use them as a theme to create a whole new video around said theme. So before me I have a plethora of different Skylanders which each have some sort of visual representation of a battle class concept which I have came up with. Because, 10 battle classes for Skylanders Imaginators, whilst all being varied and pretty epic, still leave limitations to your Imaginators, so I've came up with 10 brand new classes to help vary up the Imaginators a little bit and just add a little more innovation to their customization, mind you. Starting off with my first choice right here, the Robot class. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are several different robot parts for you to create Imaginators with already, so how would a robot class add to that? Well, you see, as you can tell from Magna Charge and Bouncer as my examples here, if they have wheels, there are no way to create wheels for your robot Skylanders in Imaginators, so having a robot class to give you the option to use either legs or wheels seems pretty cool, and not to mention they could also have more unique weapons for the robots, like a magnet blaster rather than just for generic bazooka or quick shot based weapons. So I do feel like creating a robot class could create far more unique robot based characters. Or, you could lock certain catchphrases or voices behind this class, and then you could create a regular looking Imaginator, but let them have a wheel and a robot voice, even though they look nothing like a robot. I think that'd be quite hilarious, mind you. But then at number 9 we have the Food class, a class oriented completely around food with unique food-based weaponry like Food Fight's tomato gun right there, but it doesn't need to be limited to guns only. They could also have like, say, macaroni and cheese whip or something like that, which would be pretty insane. And I feel like you can create a body any way you wish. So like Food Fight, you could completely get rid of the body and just have a head, arms and legs, a bit similar to a ninja, or you could add in the body. Again, there's no need to limit this unlike they do with a ninja class. But really, the uniqueness that the food class could bring is the plethora of food, weapons and puns that these Imaginators could utilise. Then, no doubt you're wondering, what does Chaos represent? Well, at first it was a master battle class, a battle class where you could combine all of the classes into one. So you could have the weaponry of a swashbuckler whilst having the body of a ninja, for example. But that would be a bit too overpowered, and you wouldn't choose any other battle class if this class was an availability to you, just because of that previously mentioned overpoweredness. So really, what Chaos represents here is the Hydra class that I've came up with, which is literally all about giving your Skylander multiple heads. Now, there isn't actually any Skylander with multiple heads, which is why I've just used Chaos for example here, because he did have a Hydra as part of a boss fight from Spyro's Adventure, so that's where that neat little representation comes in right there. But yeah, I think a Hydra class with multiple heads would be a really unique and cool class to utilise for your Imaginators. But now we move on to Slam Bam for the Armed class. Now, when I say armed, I mean armed and dangerous, so again, a plethora of unique catchphrases could be really cool, as well as some unique chunks of armour that could go on your multiple limbs, so you can choose between 1 arm, 2 arms, 3 arms, 4 arms, 5 arms, all the way up to 6 arms, all on one character, which I think would be really, really unique, considering that, Imaginators at the moment only have one option and one option only, 2 arms. So, since Slam Bam has 4 arms, and Imaginator having 4 arms just like Slam Bam would be so cool. That's why I think that would create an awesome new battle class, mind you. And next up we have the Wielders class. Now, they're very similar to the Swashbuckler class in the fact that they utilise 2 pieces of weaponry, but what separates the Wielders from Swashbucklers is the fact that for the Wielders you can choose 2 different weapons to wield. So Chop Chop and Washbuckler are perfect examples of that, because Chop Chop has a sword and a shield, and then Washbuckler has a sword and a gun. So yeah, I think it would be really, really cool to have Imaginators that can utilise 2 different weapons, a bit similar to a Swashbuckler. And also, unlike a Swashbuckler, you could also select whether you have legs, 2 legs specifically, or octopus-based legs, or, just for classic tails like Swashbucklers do. Again, I don't think that should really be limited. by the class. But next up we move on to the companion class. Now this class would give you a plethora of different companions that you can summon to fight alongside you, so you could choose maybe spirit animals or little miniature replicas of your Imaginator themselves, a bit like how Countdown and Zulu can do respectively. And again, that would be a really unique and really cool class to explore, the fact that you can summon your own companions which you've designed from the ground up, just as you have your Scarlet. You know, imagine being able to create like a half wolf, half lion type companion which you've built from the ground up. That would be incredibly cool and very unique to the class. But then we move on to the vehicle class, perfectly represented by Treadhead and Sprocket, purely because there can be two ways you can approach this class. You can have the vehicle permanently in availability to you, even, just like Treadhead. Or you could summon the vehicle and utilise them if and when you please, and then just walk whenever you don't want to use it, just like Sprocket can perform. So once again, being able to build a vehicle from the ground up for your Imaginator to ride is a really unique concept and a very cool one, which I would love to see explored in a brand new battle class, maybe in a Scarlet sequel or something. That would be pretty insane, to say the least. But now I move on to easily the most interesting class that I've conjured up right here, the Wrecking Ball class, which could have really unique gameplay styles because you have a giant Wrecking Ball which you're swinging at enemies. Very similar to Smash Hit's gameplay, actually, with the fact that, you know, you can have your primary attacks to where you choose to either stomp it down or swing it around, and of course there could be a plethora of different Wrecking Balls that you can collect, including a Wrecking Ball himself. I think it would be kind of ironic if you could strap Wrecking Ball to a chain and then spin him around, making an actual Wrecking Ball out of the character. So that would be a really, really cool design, and it would be worth it to create a Wrecking class based on that concept alone, is what I'm trying to say here. Now next up we have a very unique Scarlet shortcut. So what could he possibly represent? Well, what I call the Strike class, with a Y and not an I, because the Strike with a Y just seems so much more cooler in terms of the spelling of it, but as I digress. What's unique about the Strike class is that they have huge weaponry which is bigger than the actual Imaginators you create. So you can create an Imaginator similar to Shortcut that is very small and tiny in posture, and then have a giant weapon that you need two hands to wield. That's the key concept here. You can have a smaller weapon for a bigger Scarlet, so long as the weapon requires a two-handed setup for a single weapon. So it's kind of like the complete opposite of Swashbucklers. Rather than having two weapons, one per hand, you can have one giant weapon that requires multiple hands to wield. So yeah, I think a Strike class would be really, really cool. But now I move on to the number one battle class, the battle class that I'm actually kind of shocked wasn't included in Imaginators, the Dragon class. Now you can create dragon-type characters in Imaginators with backpacks that are like wings and everything. But ultimately, what's so disappointing about that is that you have to be on two legs, whereas most Dragon Scalars in Skylanders are four-legged creatures, so having a battle class that gives you the access to walk on all fours, i.e. the Dragon class, would be such a cool concept to explore. Not to mention, rather than having wings as a backpack, it could be a whole new body part altogether, and you can even select to have no wings, like what Camo does right here, or you could have wings just like Spyro. So yeah, Dragon class would definitely be very, very cool, and I'm actually kind of shocked that it didn't introduce a similar concept in Imaginators, so that's why I would make such a great battle class, mind you. But that basically does it for this top 10. These aren't in a particular order, so to say, because these battle classes are all awesome. At least in my mind they are, but of course I would say that considering I'm the one that came up with these new battle class concepts. But hey, I still made a countdown out of it, and a pun too. But that literally does it for this episode of Schooled, so I will be seeing you on Sunday for that awesome live stream. But until that moment arises, peace, and thank you as always for watching.